Hi guys, happy Wednesday. Just let me know, since technology is not my thing. Just let me know if you can hear me or not. I'm trying out some options today. Um, so we're kind of going to make the decision together about what we're going to be doing. Um, so let me thank you so much for letting you know that you can hear me. I appreciate you. So this was what we had talked about before on the last live. Oh, Karen, you can do it. Just try. It's practice. You just practice. um Hi Vicky, thanks for stopping in. Okay, so this is what we talked about in our last live. Was this apron A2 card doing a shaped card? um oh my gosh, Corolla, I'm so sorry. Oh, I hope that it's like you'll be on the mend soon. That's Yeah, rolling your ankle and broke it. That's, I swear, like that was me during my childhood. Like I am positive that I've broken. I never did. It was always a sprain, but that is terrible, and I hope that you heal quickly. Okay, so we have the apron. This is a shaped card. This is the apron garden add-on, because remember we made this card with the spring bouquet dies, and so we talked about maybe, you know from here gardening to here gardening. And then this was just the sentiment that I used for this one and intended to use for this one. So that is an option for us today. I have things pulled out for that. Or I have pulled out Dawn's sets here with the puppies and the kitties, so we could color some stamped images. So that is an option for us. And then the other option that I kind of pulled out, and this one I didn't really flesh out all the way, like, we can kind of just make it up as we go, is this is the new floral mosaic stencil, because we haven't really done anything with stencils yet. And then I pulled out the cherry blossoms, which is a lovely layers, but it's on a much smaller scale. So let's vote. Apron shaped card, coloring stamped images, dies and stencils. Tell me what you think. I'm not, honestly, I don't have a whole idea fleshed out for any of them. So I'm open to whatever. I did do a video with these. Um, and I did a video with the apron card, but not with the, so let's look. Okay, stencil, stamp, stamp. Thank you, Deanne. I appreciate that. Dies and stencils, stamps and coloring, dies and stencils. All of the above. I appreciate that. I appreciate somebody who's just like, I'm here for whatever. So Brandon, I actually did a Father's Day card. That's the one that I did last year. There is a video. I will try to link it in the description if somebody if somebody reminds me. So, but here's the problem: the apron Father's Day card is great, but that is not that's not going to work for this set. So it seemed like there were a lot of stamps. So let's go that route today. Like we'll stamp our little guys down and color them. And then we can revisit the other ones. Maybe, toward the end, we'll do a secondary vote for Monday's card. I had intended on doing a Monday card, and I completely forgot it was Memorial Day. Probably because my brain is just not right now. Thank you very much, Laura. I appreciate that. So I'm sure a lot of you saw, we'll just touch on it very briefly, the video that I put up last week after last week's live, which was that my mom has passed away. Um, it's been, I can't believe it's been almost 2 weeks, but anyway, so I do appreciate all your kind comments. But I also don't want, like, crafting is something that we all use for like an escape and a de-stressor from our daily lives, myself included. That's how I got into this hobby. So, like, we're doing the best that we can, and we're we're gonna um we're gonna take a break from our real life. In my case, my real life is pretty heavy right now. So we're gonna take a break from that, and we're just gonna color some stuff. Okay. Okay. All right. Oh, I'm very fuzzy. Why am I so fuzzy? Am I too close? I'm gonna stick my hand in your face. Oh, there I am. I think it's because I'm like, I think I moved too much or something. Amy, my girlfriend Amy, who's been like my friend since I was little. Like, I moved into that house when I was 1, and Amy was my neighbor. She was like, sometimes I watch your lives, and um, she's like, I can't. It's hard for me to watch them because like you talk just like you talk in real life. She's like, so it's I'm like, oh, she's talking like she's talking too much with her hands. She's, it's getting fuzzy. All right. So let's do, I'm just gonna cut a half sheet because I don't know how many we're gonna stamp right now. So are you, in your household, are you team puppy or team kitty? And I don't care how old they are. I have a 14-year-old puppy. He's always the puppy. All right, so this one right here, I don't know if you, here, let me put it down here. Well, why don't I just, thank you so much, Curl. It's very kind of you. Oh, you have both. Susan, I don't know if my dogs would do cats. I'm not sure. 2 puppies and 1 kitty. Yeah, I'm whatever, but I will never own a cat. So this one right here, I'm going to take my face off the screen so we can just have the coloring. But this dog right here, if you watch Dawn's lives, I'm telling you right now, that's Power. That is her dog, Power. Because it looked like it with a little curly tail, because Power is, I believe Power's an Akita. So, all right. So I think we're gonna do like the little pre-made scenes, just for the sake of time. Oh, you said no cats, but your husband rescued a kit. That's cute. Sometimes them kitties they need to have a boss, someone to keep them in line. Hi, Lise. All right, so we're gonna do those, and then we'll do these little kitties. So this one I have not used yet, this kitty with the little watering can, which is adorable. So we'll put that one down here. And then the kitties with the birds, I think. Yeah, I think so. Okay, and keeping with our theme that we have been doing, of switching up between Copics and Olos, I do think I will try to do the Olos today. If you are unaware, Honeybee is actually carrying them now, carrying the Olos. So that's nice to have another. That is, and you guys probably hear me say this all the time in my regular videos, like, but I love the fact that Honeybee offers other, like, they're not just like a brand, they carry their own brand, they carry their own other stuff as well, which I love. Okay. Oh, your 14-month-old loves all the animals? Yeah, very cute. Thank you very much, Lori. Okay, so are we good with that? Are we good with using Olos today? I am going to stamp them in black. So I'm going to use our Be Creative Intense Black ink and stamp these little guys. I haven't inked this one before, so. Well, I'm happy that you made it, Mary. Yay. I do enjoy doing the lives so that I can chit chat with you guys. And then I do, because we have the wonder of a stamp positioning tool, I usually do stamp mine twice. What is this? What did I even just pick up here? Not the right ink. Here we go. Back again. Oh, I got too much crap in my drawer. All right. So thank you, Lori. We are actually, as I'm sure you guys can probably understand, it's been quite chaotic around here, trying to make sure we get all of the things together that need to be gotten together. And so tonight, plus it's Peanut's last week of school, so it's like totally wild. All right, no, this one right here. What is that? What is that? I think there's a hit. Excuse me. All right, hold on. I think there is something on my. Yep, there sure is. There's a piece of fuzz. All right, let's try that one again. I'm like, that does not look right. And it's not. Okay, so just that part. So you guys are so sweet. You're blessing me. I appreciate that. Did Peanut have a good birthday? I think it was kind of like bittersweet, honestly, because um, I we obviously wanted to still celebrate his birthday, and I know like mom would still want us to celebrate his birthday. There's no doubt about that. But obviously there was a missing piece, being as how it's, his first birthday and it's only was just a few days. Um, no, this one I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but there's like a loop in the middle of this flower. Um, and normally I like, if I had already started coloring it and I um would not restamp it, but since I have not started coloring it and I can tell that it's already there, I'm going to see if I can fit this. I don't think it's possible. Don't think you're going to work. Well, maybe this way. It's going to be cutting it close when I go to die cut it, but we'll worry about that when the time comes. This one I do think I'll have to take off though. I don't think he'll make enough room. All right. Set these aside. So, what did you guys do for Memorial Day? We did, since we've all been keeping pretty close tabs on my father, whether he wants us to or not. We were like, well, we got to eat anyway. So we did end up getting together, but not in like a traditional cookout kind of sense. It's been cold here. Yeah, we've had a lot of rain. Same, Corolla. Where are you? In Missouri. Yeah, we've had a lot of rain and it's been like chilly. Last night it got like down into the 40s. So it doesn't feel like summer at all. Give it the Sherry Carroll CPR method. Yeah, I don't know what we haven't even, I mean, obviously with all the things we have going on, like opening the pool is pretty low on the list. I think we were going to maybe try and do it this weekend, but it's like you don't even want to go out there and get into it because it's like in the 50s, which is not totally unheard of. When I brought Peanut home from the hospital, it was snowing, and that was like at the end of May. All right. So now we got these guys going on. Let's see about, let me get my chart out. So I feel like maybe we're probably better off just pulling like some grays and some browns and seeing what we end up with, because we don't have, hi Hockey, so glad you could make it. I hope your mama's doing good. So let me see. Are these even on here? These might not even be on here because these are the second ones released. 81. Oh, Tracy, I'm so jealous. I did have like a little, I don't think these are on here. Let's look. B 4.7. That seems like one that would be, nope, it is on here. So these are all of them. All right, let's look. These are not made friends yet. 4.3. Oh. Oh, see, some of them are tricky because this is, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this before. This is the hex chart for the OLO markers. This is from Sandy Allnack. She also has one for Copics, and she had one for sketch markers before they disappeared. Which I really did like those. But anyway, Meow. Ah, all right. 2.1. I feel like maybe that's going to be a little bit too light. 4.0. All right. I'm just going to start snatching them up. So the way that the OLOs work are, they're not necessarily like refillable in the same sense that Copics are. This is one cartridge. So when this goes dry, you just purchase another one of these. They are substantially cheaper. They're like $4. So if you look at like the retail of a Copic where you're not maybe necessarily getting it on sale, um, yeah, Carl, I know when you sent me that message, like I was so heartbroken for them. That's so hard. Um, so anyway, so these are like $4 a piece, and retail Copic markers for a full marker are $8, but they have the same amount of ink in them. I will say, however, it is a different ink system. So the you do use, I think you do use a little bit more ink with the free flow of the ink, than you do with maybe um, the Copic markers, but it doesn't, they blend easier because they are more saturated. So you do just need to pay attention to, I'm gonna pull the black too. I pulled out the warm grays, didn't I? Oh, I missed the 7 and the 9. Um, you do need to pay attention to how close you're getting to like the lines of things. I'm just pulling out all kind of neutral colors. Okay. All right. For a non-crafter retired cop. I used to, like, this obviously was a long time ago, but when I dispatched in-house, like, so inside the same police station that I just, like, I worked in the same building with the officers. It's been years since I've done that. Um, but I would bring like my coloring, like in my, so I would have something to do in my downtime. And you would be shocked how many of those guys have a genuine interest in like, hey, how does this work? Kind of thing. Lori, I am using Olos. Alright. So we will, let's start with this little guy. So I'm just gonna do maybe just like a little plain brown dog. So let me see, 4.1, 4.3, 4.6, and a 4.8. Let's try that. I don't know how dark this is gonna be. Uh, so let's just see here. I will hold these up in case you're watching and coloring along. Let me get them in order though, that would be helpful. Okay, so let's take things a little bit slow. If you are new to coloring, okay, you might want to start with your lightest color to lay in your shadows. But we always have shadows where two things meet together, and then we have shadows where one object lays on top of the other. So here, his ear is meeting his face, so there's going to be a shadow here. Here, his head is laying over his ear, so it's in front, so we're going to have a shadow here. Here, this one, these are kind of like where it gets a little bit tricky. His snout is sticking out in front of his face, so there will be a shadow behind it. His Where his neck and his head meet, there will be a shadow here. And then where his paws are in front of his body, there will be a shadow. Here's his little tail. You can also see how his little paws are hanging over. So if you look at my hands like this is how his little paws would be hanging over. We naturally have a shadow kind of where it ends at the bottom, and the highlight is going to be up here kind of like across the top. So when his little paws are like this, we could put a little shadow down here at the bottom and leave that highlight at the top. So that we leave these light so that they separate from the body. And then for this ear, like just to have a little bit of shading, I'm just going to add a little something back there because that makes sense with the way, the light is hitting everything else. So now, Lori, I wish I could zoom in. StreamYard does not have zoom. So unfortunately, I don't even think I have anything like that I can raise it up on. Let me see. Let me see. Maybe. Hold on. Correct, Corolla. If you are naturally heavy-handed, which really was a huge problem for me when I first started coloring with even my Copic markers, um, I would be like bleeding outside of the lines. And let me see if this helps at all. Is that any better? Oh, you can zoom in on YouTube. Oh, good to know, Brandon. But anyway, so yes, you do want to be a little bit lighter handed with these. Okay, so then this one is I'll try to not knock it over, is the 4.3. So now we've already laid out where our shadows are. So now we can just go in and work towards our darkest color. So we're just going to go right over those same areas. Just like that. And then move on to the next color. And I colored like this for years so that I never worried about. I'm going to put this one here, but I'm not going to put the darkest color here for his snout because it will be too dark for his little eyeballs. So we do have to be conscientious of that. Okay, and then down here. And so then your darkest color, your shadow color, is going to go where we want it to be the darkest. So like the side of his ear probably isn't going to be the darkest shadow. This one here, where it's behind, probably does have a darker shadow. Where his snout is sticking out, probably not the darkest shadow. Where his head is sitting on top of his body, probably a pretty dark shadow. Same thing where it's underneath his ear, this side of his neck, his paws in front of his body. So in between right here, probably going to be pretty dark. And then obviously where his body is hid by the wagon. The hands, probably not the darkest shadow, and then he's got just this little snippet of tail. So once we make it all the way out to the darkest color, Karen, if you're running out of room for the colors, you're probably being a little bit too heavy-handed because you can see here, like we've gone through all 4 colors, but we haven't really colored in much of him. Now, when we go back through, so we went lightest to darkest. Now, when we go darkest to lightest, this is where we're really going to start extending that color out. Okay. So we're going to go over that dark color that we put down and then kind of extend that out. Same thing back here. His body over the darkest color, extend that out. Oh, wrong one. This is the lid, Kelly. Oh, Scott, well, you tell Kathy that I said she is very welcome. All right, so now going to go over that one and really extend this out. When you are coloring, most of what you're going to see is your mid-tones, which is where like these 2 colors in between. And you want to make sure that you're coloring over the previous color because we need them to blend together. So here, I'm going to bring this up so that this part right here is the highlight where his snout is. And then I'm going to bring this up from his nose so that the highlight portion is just here on the top of his head. For his body, I mean, really, we're almost going to completely fill in with this midtone, because there's not many places the light is going to reach, and then I'm going to leave a highlight on top of his paws. And then for the highlight color, again, we do want to make sure that we are going over a little bit of that previous color. That's how they're going to blend together. Get his little snout here and right there on the tops of his hands. So when we're looking at him, I'll pick him up so I can bring him closer to you. You can see where those little highlights are and what's kind of pressed back the into more of the background versus what should be sticking out, which is the stuff with the lighter color. So that is just totally simple, no texture, just a 4-color blend. Okay. So now let's use the same colors over here for this kitty, but then we'll add a little bit of texture. Okay. So I'm going to do it the same way. Even though this takes longer, it's worth it until you get comfortable with your coloring. Okay. So here we go. We've got his cute little tushy that's in front of his tail. So there's going to be a shadow here on the back of his tail. Here, his belly is on top of his feet. So there's going to be a shadow here. And then I'm going to extend this shadow line up a little bit because we know his leg is going to continue into his hindquarters. So we're just going to help give it a little bit more dimension by extending that line out. Here, his head is blocking his body. So there's going to be shadow all through here. Okay. His head blocking his ear. There will be shadow. His ear blocking his head. Shadow. Head blocking his arm. Arm blocking his other arm. So this one right here is completely filled in because that one will be substantially darker. Now here you can see where Dawn kind of alluded. Let me pick this up. You can see where Dawn kind of left this little bit of a line, which gives us again the illusion of that like joint where they're coming together. So I'm going to, just like we did with the puppy paws, I'm going to add a little bit of shadow here. And then I'm just going to extend that up just a little bit. Okay. Oh, I forgot his snout. Okay. Now, going to get this tail section, the leg here. And really, once you take the time to do that first part with the lightest color, and the reason we use the lightest color is because, one, it's substantially less scary, right? If you're putting down color and it's real light, it's not nearly as scary as if you're going in with like black. But it's also because if we make a mistake, okay, let's say, I don't know, we thought his belly, would be more in shadow. Then it's in your lightest color. So it's very easy to cover up your mistake. So this part right here, like this is just one thing to pay attention to. You want to make sure you don't completely blow out. Like, so it shouldn't be a wide line when you're extending this out. It should really just be like a little flick, and it should be on the side of the leg. And then this one's gonna come all the way down. Like I said, we already know this paw is gonna be darker because it's behind. Well, I'm glad that it is really helpful to you guys. I think, real time is definitely more helpful where you're able to kind of see it and ask questions. Well, Tracy, tell me what butterflies you were coloring, and maybe we can do butterflies on one of the lives. All right, so now we're out to the darkest color, right? And now we're going to make some decisions about what we want to be the darkest. So the tail is all the way like behind his tushy. So I do think he's going to have a little bit of dark color there. For his foot's completely under the belly, but I don't think it would be as dark extending up. So I'm only going to add the darkness just to the part that's under his belly. For here, where he's stretched out, this is not going to be the darkest part of the shadow. This arm, for sure, tucked underneath the head and this other little paw, definitely will be dark. This ear definitely will be dark. Probably behind that ear as well. I'm going to add just a little bit of darkness here because there's an awful lot of like his neck and his body that's kind of going to be tucked up underneath there. But I'm not going to take it all the way out to the edge. And this is going to help me. I'll pick it up so you can see it. This is going to help so that there is some delineation between this paw and his head, because we're going to have just that little bit of lighter area where the other paw is in front. So now we're going to go again, we're going to go back in and we're going to go over what we have and then slightly extend it out. So you might be saying to yourself, like, Kelly, there is a lot of area here. And you are right. So you can start to kind of extend this out even more. This is our midtone, remember? And you can also kind of bring it in on this side here. Same thing with the ear and then the side of his face. So I want this side of his face to be lighter because this one's kind of angled down towards the ground. Hi, Angie. It's okay if you're late, girl. I'm always late. We know this. So I'm going to kind of add a little bit of shadow this way and just kind of flick that up. So that way, again, we're leaving just that little bit of area for the lighter color so that we can include the separation. So here, extend that out. And I'm going to fill in his foot with this secondary midtone, which I'm holding onto the lid. I apologize for holding it hostage. Don't be like that. Okay. And then I'm going to go over this and meet these two in the middle. So this, where his little tushy is hunched up, that's going to be a lighter color. And then I'm going to fill in his little belly area. I'm going to leave a highlight here on the arm. This back one, I'm going to fill in with my other midtone. This ear, I'm going to fill in. And then here, I'm going to start bringing this up. I will leave some lighter area here on the snout. And a little bit on the top of the head. So this is our lightest color, our last one. And just going to hit those little highlight areas. Again, you want to make sure that you're going over a little of that previous color so they blend nicely. And for this one, you can see a little bit of an open ear. So I'm going to look for a pink here. RV01. RV, what does a 1.5 look like? Or a 5.1. That actually looks like it'll be fine. Okay. So here, I'm just going to put in a little bit of pink. And this is also like if you wanted to do like a little bit of a blush cheek, because that's cute on your little animal guys. Like this, you could do that also. So this is how you would color him plain. But remember, we talked about how we wanted to add a little bit of texture. So when we're adding texture and we're scared, we go in with the lightest color again. And I'm going to do just like some little wavy lines like you would see with like a little tabby. And they're going to kind of come across the back here. And it's hard to see with your lightest color because, everything, well, that was actually the dark midtone. But once we get a little bit more courageous, with maybe some of the other colors, we can put in these little, they don't have to be perfect. You can skip some spots because really we're just adding a little bit of interest, and then you can go right back over and kind of blend them out with a lighter color. And this helps them kind of look like they fade off naturally. So then he has like a little bit more of a pattern so that he looks, you know, a little bit more like a certain kind of cat. So I think he's super cute. And you could do this, like we did this with browns, but like you could do this with with gray, like for the little, tiger stripes. Hi, Svetlana. Like that would be something else that you could do. The other thing that I do want to look at is coloring a black cat. Um, I think I read somewhere that like black cats are least likely to be adopted, which is so sad. Um, but I like people do have them, so I do want to go over how to color them because it can be challenging to color them and keep all of their features. So let me just pull out. I probably only go out to a 5. Susan, I do have like a more kind of in-depth one about coloring black cats on my channel. So here's something that you need to know with Olos. Let me bring this back here for a second. Okay. It has several different colors of black. It has a red black, which leans maybe a bit more toward like the warmer side. This one, the BK it leans a bit more toward the cooler side, and the K is just like a pure black, kind of neutral. So just so you are aware, when you're picking them, they do have different shades. So the K is the one that's going to be like the most neutral. But we're going to work right up this here. We're going to work right up these cool grays for our black cat. And I know you're thinking like, well, my cat isn't gray, Kelly, my cat is black. I know that. But you also know if your cat is black, that when your cat is sitting in the sunlight, your cat still does have highlights and things. So, all right. So this is what we've pulled out. Oh, I have two C. I have two nines. Okay. 5, 7, 9, and then the pure black. Okay. So let's do this little kitty right here. Okay. Now we're going to go in again with our lightest color because dark colors are scary, but there's no reason to be scared once we put down our map, right? So let's look at this. So this kitty has some shadow here where, and I am going, it's not there. Okay. Just so we're clear. I am going to give him a little bit of a snout with a line. That's all I'm going to do. Just a little bit of a rounded line. His arms are in front of his belly. So this belly is going to be dark. His tail's way back here. That's going to have some shadow. His hands are in front of the rest of his body. So this is all going to be in shadow. And then this little paw here is behind. We want to leave that top area lighter though. Oh, bye, Brandon. And then this is kind of like where his tail comes around. So in order to give it a little bit more like shape, I'm going to add just a little bit of shadow kind of down to his bottom paws and then up here on his top ears. I'm going to add that as well. Okay. Now we do the same thing that we've done before and we move through the different colors. Keep that one a little light. I'm going to give him a little. Now notice here, let me pick it up so you can see it. Don't be like that. I did not take this line into his eyeballs. Okay. I left a gap there that is important. Bye, Corolla. Thanks for stopping in. So, all right, we've done the C5, we've done the C7. Now we're out to the C9. As far as picking the side the light is on, um, that's not something that's as important right out the gate. That's something that you can kind of work on as you progress in your coloring. I don't think it's something that you have to learn right now. Um, so this one right here, I am not coloring this cat as if there is a light source from here or here. I'm doing what we call a central highlight. So as if he's just lit from the front. That is how I am coloring him. And that is how I color most um little animals and things like these types of scenes is with a center highlight. So now we're all the way out to the black. Oh, I forgot his little snout part. There we go. Okay. So then this is the black. This is the part where we only want to put this where we want it to be the absolute darkest. So definitely in between these paws, right? Right here where his head is laying. His tail is tucked way, way back. His body is behind the rest of it. And then this portion of his tail. So I'm not going to put it here. I don't think it's necessary. So then we're just going to work our way back. So this is the C9. And we're doing the same thing, just extending it out. Now, you probably can't see it. Let me. Let me just finish those little edges. I am going to see right here, there's little lines. I am just going to put just a little bit there and then kind of extend this out again, avoiding the eyes. All right. So let me pick this up for you to see. So see how on these paws, Dawn's left just this little tiniest indication of like a bend in the foot. So we are going to capitalize on that. Okay. And you can go back if you're more comfortable here with your C5. And we're just going to add shadows right there. So now the foot is going to sit out front. So this is, I'm back to the C9. You can go through the whole process again, but I am going to keep this C9 in the center. See how we still have the white on either side of the paw? So I'm just going to keep this darker color right here in the center. Up here, I'm going to extend it out and connect these two so that the head has a beginning and an end here. Lori, I did not go to art school, and in fact, that was one of the funny, like, two truths and a lie I did on my channel years ago. I actually failed my high school art class. My teacher and I didn't see eye to eye. So I am completely self-taught outside of just regular public school art class learnings. Okay, so now we're out to the C7, and remember, what we see the most of is our midtones. So now that we have this kind of like a collar almost of darker color, I'm going to start to bring up this color, this C7, into our little kitty's face. I'm going to go over this and bring it down. I'm going to connect it to the one that we have here, but I am going to leave those little white areas. I'm going to connect this part to the belly, making sure that I'm still leaving those little white areas. The tail I'm going to fill in with my midtone. Hi, Rhonda. And then I'm going to get the feet. So there's just a little bit of white there. For this one, I'm going to bring this up. We're just going to have just a sliver of white. And then for his little tushy, and remember to blend these in, we want to still make sure we're overlapping. I'm going to leave just a little bit of a white edge there on his little tush. Okay. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of bring this up around his eyes. And I'm almost going to leave just like a little mask. Then we're going to go in with the C5. And this is one where we're going to be a little bit more careful. Like we're not going to flick in the lightest color as much. We're just going to go right over top of where we want it to be the lightest here. Like I'm going to go over that one and I'll just bring it up a little bit around the side of his face. And then this is the color that we are going to fill in his little mask with. Just like that. And then we'll bring this down and hit all of these little white areas. So let me pick this up so you can see it. He is dark, but he still looks like a gray cat, right? He still looks like a gray cat. So this is where you go in and we start to get like we play a little bit more with the color. So this is the black. I'm going to go back in where I want it to be, he's a black cat. I want him to appear as a black cat. So we're going to start extending this down. Now we're following the same guidelines that we previously put down. We are just making sure that we're darkening it up, and we're doing it in stages because it is a little bit kind of scary to use those darker colors. So here I'm going to do almost like a little smile line. I'm going to pick it up so you can see. Right underneath the smile line, there is an edge. There is a lighter edge that's going to separate his head from his body, because we don't just want that to be solid black, or we will lose all of the definition that we're trying to create. So now we're back. Sorry, let me show you that. We're back onto the C9. We're going to add that to the little bottoms of the paws. We're going to bring this up, because sometimes you just have to be a little bit patient with it, because it takes a little while to get to where you want to go. Okay. So see, we're getting darker and darker as we're going, so that he will look black. Again, we want to make sure that we're leaving those little lines. I am going to connect his belly there, because that's what's going to keep his legs from folding back into his body. So I'm going to go through here. I'm going to leave his snout a little bit lighter, and I've left some little lighter areas around his eyes. And I will take this up. And then remember, with alcohol markers, lighter colors always bleach darker ones. So if you feel like, oh my gosh, I've gotten too heavy-handed, you won't even be able to see his eyeballs, like just go in there with your lightest color and see if that is actually true or not. So I'm just going to get just those highlight sections. I am going to get, okay. And then I'm going to go, what did I do with that pink, y'all? Oh, I put it back over here. There's that pink, that R51, because I do want him to have a little pink in his ear. I'm going to let it blend with that gray. And I know some of you are like, lady, he has no whiskers, but I'll get to that. Give me a second. Okay, so let me show you him here. So see how his body still has definition? We can still see his paw here, his two paws here, his face, his eyes. So now for his whiskers, what you can do is, hold on. Where are you? There you are. Okay. Oh, I think one of my light bulbs just died. Well, we're doing the best we can. Okay, let me find here's a sharpener. Okay, so you can do this one of two ways. You can put your whiskers in with a colored pencil or with a gel pen. And either, if you want them to be softer, I would use the colored pencil. If you want them to be a bit stronger, you can use the gel pen. So you would just, oops, flick like that to give him soft little whiskers. And you could do like a little highlight on his nose. You could do a little highlight in his eyes. I personally, for the eyes, I prefer to go back to like a fine liner and really darken them up. And I find that that makes them much easier to see. So you can also use this same, like you could use it to add a little highlight on top of his little paws here. You could do it on top of the tail. Like you could add different highlights to different sections, and the that pencil is going to be softer, but you can also do it with the gel pen. I try not to put down as much pressure, and I just let them kind of skip. So see, those are a little bit bolder, and then you can do the same thing with the highlights. Let me get his nose there. So it really just depends on, what you're kind of into. If you're like, oh my gosh, that's way too much. He looks like he has a white beard. I don't like it at all. Wait until it's dry. Double check it. Wait until it is dry. And then you can just go in with your marker and soften them up a bit. So that way they're not as in your face. That is, like, I guess I should give you I like the pencil ones. I guess I should give you the heads up though, that that's like a do at your own risk thing. I have heard people say that it can ruin your markers. But I've been doing it for 15 years and haven't had an issue. So there is our black one. So we have a little tabby, we have a black cat, we have a brown dog. Any last requests for this little doggy? What color we should make him? I'm gonna get a sip, a little beverage. Because I feel like this is like a dog that could really be like any kind of dog, right? So white with brown spots. Spots. Okay. Let's do some spots. All right. So I like to, when I am doing my spots, I'm going to switch over to some gray. Let me find my warm grays. I got a 3, I got a 5, I need a 1. Where are you? Am I losing my mind? Let me look over here. Okay. Oh, Hockey, I'm sorry. I hope they find your package. All right, so we're going to do kind of, this is what I will pull out, and then we'll see what we need. So oftentimes what color are my dogs? My dogs are black and white, and I have a brindle. So oftentimes with spots, you'll see them kind of around the eye, which we love, and then maybe on like their ear. Okay, so let's do those two. And I just mark them out with my lightest color, so I know to leave them there. Maybe we'll do like one white paw too. That's what my brindle has, one white paw. We used to joke that that was her Indian name, one white paw. All right, so now let me find All right, I got a 7.8, a 7.7, 7.3. Was that really the next one? 7.3? That's quite the jump. Is there another one in between there? Okay, so we got a 7.7, 7.8. These are cooler browns. And that's a 3. That's a green. What is even going on there? 4.7. I'm not really liking. I'm not really liking any of you. What are you? Oh, a 7.6. Oh, it's an OR though. I was like, why is it so red? That tracks. Let me look over here and see. It's just an O. Really warm. Maybe I'll try this. No, no, I don't like that. All right, we're gonna make it up as we go. Okay, so where is the set? The problem is the way that we've been doing it, which is starting with our lightest color. There it is. I was gonna say the lightest color is the one that I can't find. All right, but I did locate it. Praise Jesus. All right, so this is what we're gonna start with, and we're gonna see how it works out. Because this is a 3-color blend versus a 4, which is what we've been using. And I feel like I might need a buffer mid-tone. But let's mark out our shadows and go from there. Okay, so this ear is behind, so that's going to have shadows. This ear is up front, so this part of the head will have shadows. Nuvo paste and mini wobbles, like the action wobblers, Susan. So there, but I notice I'm only putting it on the outside of my circle. And then here underneath their necks, where they're behind the paws, and then where he's coming up out of this little bucket. I do have some action wobblers that I can use. I used to have Nuvo paste. I'm not entirely sure that the ones that I have are any good, but I am willing to take a look. Okay. And then I'm going to add a little bit of shadow there underneath the neck. Okay. Okay. All right. 7.8 out to the darkest color. So this we want to be the darkest. This is going to be dark. This is going to be dark. In between here, also dark. But the snout and the paws, not the darkest. Okay. Oh. So now we're going to go over that and extend it out. But we are going to be conscientious of our circle where we want our spot to be. Okay. So here, this ear has a spot. So we're going to take this color and just outline it right there, because this one will be the lightest color. And then here, we're going to extend this out, because this is going to be the majority of the color that the dog is. And then here, oh, this one will be pretty much completely filled in, because remember, we're only working with 3 colors and not 4. And then we will extend this up. Again, being mindful of our spot. Now on to the 7.3. This is our highlight color. here. And then like see how these are kind of like far apart. Um, so you can do it's a old school trick, the tip to tip method, and use your lighter color to pick up a bit of the darker color and kind of make an in between that you can use. Okay, so there's that. And then this one, I will also use the little go between color to make them work. Okay, so now we have our two spots, but our spots look funny because they also have no shading, right? They're just white spots. So then that's where, oh, my light came back to life. Lazarus resurrected the light bulb. Okay, so now we are gonna we still want to add the shadows, even though it's white. You still need to add some dimension to him. So, but you do it just along the same lines that you would have before. We just, our fourth color, when you're coloring something white, is the white of the paper. So now he does have white spots, but they do still have shading. And then just like we talked about with like the highlights for the black cat, like you could do all of those. Like you could go in and get his little nose here. You know, you could do all of those same things for your other ones. So I think that that's probably, I'm so glad you guys are learning so much. That makes me so happy. Okay, hold on. I'm going to bring you back. Okay. So because we're doing like some more in-depth coloring, obviously we have not completely gotten through these guys. You know, since we did spend a lot of time on the coloring of the animals, but um they're like the focal point. So that's where you do want to spend all of your time. So then next week, when we get together, we should be able to knock out the backgrounds pretty quickly because they are not going to be as involved as the rest of our coloring. So we will stick with our OLOs, just like last time. Once we've completed everything, I will go back into the description of the live and put in what like the products that we've used. If you are using Copic markers, I will also list the equivalent from the OLOs of the Copics. So that way, if you know, want to color along and have similar results, I'll try to get just close as I can. Um, so I need Lisa. Is Lisa still in here to pick a winner? If not, I'll do it. We'll see. We'll see if she's hanging out. I can These lives go so fast for me. Like I feel like we just breeze right through it and like, you know, we end up with what we end up. I did see her, Tracy. She was here, but oh, thank you, Karen. I'm glad you guys are learning stuff. That makes me so happy. Oh, there she is. All right. And our winner is Lori Crater. Congratulations, Lori. And then you can email our customer care at honeybeestamps.com and they will get you all set up with your gift card. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I always do appreciate you. I know your time is precious, so when you spend it with me, I am very grateful for that. So I love your guys' commentary that you feel like you're learning so much. That is super fun. Um, All right, so I will see you next Wednesday to finish up the coloring of these guys. And maybe we'll use one of those other ones for the Monday premiere. Maybe we'll do that. So, okay. All right. Thank you guys so much. And I will see you next week. Okay. Bye. Or not.